Don't worry, it's only a 1%. I mean a 2%. Oh, a 3% drop. It won't go any deeper. It's 4%. It's getting a little hot underneath the collar in here. Should I sell some stuff? 5.6% drop later. Yeah. What did I say last week? We hadn't seen the what? The big red candlesticks yet. Well, we've seen them now. Huge. Y'all know what I'm going to say next, right? Huge. Absolutely huge. 124 and a quarter points on the S&P 500 futures upper left-hand corner, September 20th, about 15 minutes after close of the futures market. I trade the E-micros usually. Wow. Last night I traded pretty late. I was up late trading. I was pretty confident that, I think I said it on Friday, that there was still going to be more to come, that this wasn't over yet. What did I say last week? Bloodshed. Or bloodbath. Yeah, I said it's going to be a bloodbath. Yeah, well, guess what? This surprised a lot of people. And I said it would. And a lot of people lost a lot of money, unfortunately. But yeah. What a day. Stick around for the end of the video. I'll tell you whether or not I made any money or lost some money with this big red candlestick. So I know a lot of people lost money. And people closed positions, and they were not prepared for this. They were prepared for the, it just keeps going up. Yeah. I'm also going to show a chart that I think is going to surprise a lot of people. It's a cycle that very few people even know about, even among the cycle analysis crowd, which is not a lot of us. This is a cycle very few people are even aware of. But I think it's going to be a real eye-opener. So when I get to that, I'll show you. We'll talk about a few things about that. Yeah, 124 and a quarter point range day. The low was 42.93 and 3/4. My goodness. I said last week that I was that we hadn't seen the big red candlesticks yet. I was expecting an 80, 90, or 100 day range, and sure enough, we got it. I mean, we got it in spades. Almost 125 point range. I can tell you right now, without even jumping on and looking at the mainstream media hacks and even other people on YouTube that totally missed this, you know, they're going to be in panic mode. What does this all mean? You know how they are. Yeah, 5.6% drop from 45.49 all-time high to 42.49. You know what I think about the all-time high for at least for the immediate future? Say bye-bye. Everybody put their hand up. Bye-bye, all-time high. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah, we won't see that for a while. Not saying that it won't go back up and go above it, but if it does, it's going to take some time to do that. And it could very possibly be bye-bye. Last time we ever see it. Wave, because you may never see that 49.5 again. All right. If we do, fine, we'll trade it. Doesn't matter. I'm just going off of instincts about what I have a sense here. So, everybody wants to know what's going to happen tomorrow. Well, first of all, I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody has a crystal ball about what exactly is going to happen tomorrow. Okay? We are, going down into these cycle lows. If you see on the screen, you see a big yellow vertical line there on the kind of the right upper part of the screen. That's right at the cycle low, which is really tomorrow or the next day is the cycle low, right around there on the daily cycle, okay? So, my instincts tell me that we probably aren't quite done with this cycle yet, though we easily could be. I mean, when you start getting within a day or two or three of the cycle low, that's definitely all that's possible, that's the cycle low. Sometimes they end early, sometimes they run a little late. It's never, I shouldn't say never, but We don't, in cycle analysis, we don't worry about being exactly to the day because that's way too dogmatic. As I said before, when it comes to cycles, you got to give them room to breathe. So let me come back at the end of the video. We're going to, but before at the very end of the video, after I show you whether or not I made a profit loss and all this, I'll talk about what I think is going to happen tomorrow, okay? So before we do that, though, I want to show real quick here. Oh, you know what? I don't have the charts for it. Oh, so yeah, that's okay. I'm just going to mention them real quick. You know what? That's okay. I will put the charts up for it when I release the video. But for now, I'll just look at it on the screen. Okay, just real quick. A few things I want to talk about. Crude oil. There could be a trade in crude oil coming up. It's possible. I think crude oil just has a little tiny pullback going on right now, like almost indiscernible pullback for these last 3 days. I don't think it's going to pull back much. We're going to keep a close eye on the crude oil. And there could be a long side trade on that. I'm waiting to see exactly what it's going to do. If I do trade it, there are E-micro. It's called MCL. M as in Mary, CL. So if you're interested in trading the E-micro crude oil, that would be the way to go. If I take a trade in, I'll let you know. Now, I mentioned this other one many times before. So that's the crude oil. So let me switch over to the 6A. The 6A, which if I trade it would be the M6A. Just looking at that stochastic momentum down there, looks like it's trying to finally curl over, but it hasn't done it yet. I don't want to get out ahead of this. I made that mistake on 6E, the euro dollar, where I got out in front of the trade on the short side and I had to wait for, oh my gosh, I had to wait for days on end for that thing to come back and close it and at a profit. But you know, we don't want to be making those kind of trades. So I don't want to make that mistake, that kind of silly mistake. So I'm waiting to see what this thing does. The 6A is, my gosh, I'm just licking my chops here because it looks like it's going to be a really good trade. So if I take a trade on 6A, I'll let everybody know. But that trade's looking really, really good. And for those of you that are new to futures and you're thinking about opening a futures account, 6A is really inexpensive. I mean, M6A, sorry. Same product, just the E-micro. Really, really super inexpensive to trade. You know, the margin requirement on it is super, super small. So that's a good way to go if you're looking to get into futures trading, okay? Okay. So let's take a brief look at what happened with me. Did I make any money, profit or loss? Let me just go right to I have a bunch of screenshots here, but you know what? Let's just go right to the last screenshot. There you go. This was at nearly 2 a.m. last night when I stopped doing trading. Some of you got to be shaking your head. What? You stopped trading last night? Yeah, $2,252.50 later. Ouch! Absolutely ouch! Yeah, that was a massive profit last night. Super grateful, blessed. I give God thanks. What an amazing, amazing trading session. You know, I went and got some shut-eye after this trade because it was getting late. When I got up, you know, I think it was around 43.40. And yeah, I put the morning video out early in the day and I thought, okay, that might be it. You know, that could be the low of the day. Boom, that was wrong. That thing came all the way down into the 4200s. And that's a game changer. But yeah, this was a very profitable session. I'm super happy. I just wasn't willing to do any more trades because I'd already made up my mind that my trading for the session was over. No big deal. Yes, I could have made another 2,000. Jeez. I mean, you know, there was another 2,000 or 3,000 in that. But you know what? I've gotten to the place in trading where I don't kick myself. You know, if I already made my mind that my trading session is over, that's it. I don't sweat it. You know, there's a lot of profitability here. I'm very happy camper. I don't worry about what it coulda, woulda, shoulda. Because if you do that, you're gonna end up being a bad trader. You'll be jumping in and out of trades and making silly mistakes and all kinds of craziness. I could have done some stop loss trades today and picked at it and made definitely made $400, $500, $600 extra easily, maybe even more. But you know, I just stayed out of it because sometimes I think that's the best course of action. Yeah, what a awesome day. Okay, so that's what I did on profit loss for today. Ouch! Absolutely huge day. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we need more of those kind of days. Okay, now we're going to look at something that very few people are even aware of. This is called the 6.25-year cycle. And some of you are going, what? Nobody predicts 6.25-year cycles. Well, you'd be wrong. This is a 75-month cycle we're looking at in front of us. This is on the S&P 500 futures. Okay? And if you just take a moment and look at this cycle, if you need to pause the video, pause it. The big yellow arcs are the cycles we're interested in. Ignore the green ones and the red ones at the bottom. You can see all the way on the lower left-hand corner of the screen back in kind of mid to late 1996, that was the beginning of a cycle. There's a little red candlestick over there. Believe it or not, that's the beginning. And then you come over to 2003, and look at that cycle. What a thing of beauty. That's over 6 years to complete that cycle. Look at that cycle. Wow. Then from 2003 to 2009, same thing. Cycle comes up and comes down. The one back in 1996 to 2003, that's almost an ideal cycle. It peaked in the middle and then came down. The one from 2003 to 2009, we call that a right-hand translation cycle, where it peaked really pretty late. You know, in the last third of the cycle, it peaked and then it came down from there. And this is a really important. We're going to talk about the behavior of the trends, because it should be obvious. If you're not familiar with cycle analysis, then I suggest you take the time to stop what you're doing in life. If you want to be a really good trader, this should be part of your toolbox, is understanding these kind of cycles at various lengths. Okay, we got daily, weekly, and monthly cycles. Okay, this happens to be basically a yearly, on a cycle that's on a very large scale. It's hard for most people to be able to find. Okay. But anyway, let's look at the cycle that runs from about 2009, late 2008, 2009, all the way to the middle, well, almost to 2016. And you can see right there at the end, we had like about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 or 7 months of some pretty high volatility. That end of that cycle is very interesting, because it happened at September-ish time, which is that quadruple witching time, and then we had, well, that was near the end, sorry, but before that we had the 6.25-year cycle that was like, I think, July. Let me look real quick. Okay, I don't have it in front of me. It doesn't matter. I think it was like July. Okay, June, July, somewhere around there, and that's why you had those two big down months right there, just to the right of that yellow line in 2015. And then a couple months later, it came down again. Well, that was the triple witching, or the end of the year fiasco that we're going through, like what we're going through right now. So that's why that whole 2015, 2016, you see a lot of red right there at the end. We're going to come back and talk about these cycles and how we're seeing a behavior, a pattern here within the cycles themselves. Okay, so let's look at the last cycle from mid 2015 all the way to now. Okay, look at the big, long, yellow vertical line. We're like almost right up against it. Okay, this 6.25-year cycle ends October, November-ish. Okay, because on this large of a scale, we're not dogmatic about the end of cycles. We don't demand that they end on exactly a month or in exactly a time. We let them breathe, have a little room on each side of the cycle. Okay, sometimes that'll be months, 2, 3, 4 months. They'll end early. 2, 3, 4 months. They'll end late. If you look back at 2008, 2009, you'll notice that cycle ended early. See how it bottomed out before the cycle low actually occurred? It like bottomed out like a couple months before the cycle low. That's perfectly acceptable in cycle analysis, okay? And in the 2015, 2016, it's debatable which one of those lows is the cycle low, but pretty much bang on that one. Okay? All right, so we're trying to keep the video short, but it's hard to do. But let's go back to the big cycle on the far left. That's an ideal cycle I talked about. Ideal cycle simply means it started in 1996, it came up, it peaked pretty much in the middle of the cycle, and then it made its way down, all the way to the close of the cycle, the bottom of the cycle. But then look what happens in 2003, 2009. The peak in the cycle is like the last third of the cycle, right? Notice that? It comes up and it doesn't peak until really late, kind of late, and then it comes down. Now look at 2009, 2015. Look at that one. It comes up, has a couple little hiccups in there, but nothing too big, and goes all the way, almost to the very end of the cycle, in extreme right-hand translation, and finally it comes down. So if you look at those cycles, you'll notice they progressively go further and further into the cycle before they come down. Now look where we are now. We're about as deep as we can get into this cycle. And the real question is September it? Is that all there is to it? I don't think so. That doesn't mean that we're just going to be straight down from here for who knows how long. But I don't think on a monthly, level, on a monthly cycle, a monthly basis, I should say, I don't think we're done seeing red yet for this year, okay? So we're at 5.6% decline already for this year, for September. And I think we'll see more. I don't know is it going to be right away? Is it going to be October? Is it November? Is it December? And remember, this could easily extend into January, February, March, because that's also very typical to see a lot of price decline in the winter time. Those few months right there in the winter, So the fact that we are at the very tail end of this 6.25-year cycle, I think we're in for some more surprises. Okay, so I just want to mention that I don't think we're done here yet. This thing is not done. Okay, now on a day-to-day basis, that doesn't mean every day is going to be red. Okay, so just keep that in mind. There's daily cycles, weekly cycles, and monthly cycles. And monthly cycles can easily turn into yearly cycles like you're seeing here, okay? All right. Now let me get back over to the S&P 500 review as I get ready to close up this video. So I'm going to mention something that could happen. Circuit breakers! What's that? Circuit breakers! Yeah, we may be hearing that phrase again sometime in the near future. If you don't know what a circuit breakers are for the S&P 500, go look it up. Because we may be hearing about those. I'm not going to say I know when exactly, the day, the week. No, I'm not going to say that. Just saying we may be hearing that this fall, winter, going into even the early 2022. Maybe hearing that phrase. Okay. There's a couple things that stand out to me about this time, what I'm seeing. And there are two things you might want to take a look at. One is the fall, winter of 2018. So get out your charts. Put on the monthly time frame, weekly, daily time frame, but start with your monthly. And go look at the fall, winter of 2018. And then also look at 2015. So I think we got one of those going on. We got a 2015 or a 2018 going on here. Okay? And it could be, guys, because we're on this very large yearly cycle coming to an end, this 6.25-year cycle, we could get some big surprises. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could happen. Okay, for tomorrow, I think we're going to get a bounce. That's just my guess. Would not be surprised to see kind of a moderate green day tomorrow. I don't know, 30, 40, 50-day range. Green day. I think that's what we'll see tomorrow. I don't have a crystal ball. If you're on the YouTube channel looking for a crystal ball, forget it. Nobody's got that. That's my best guess for tomorrow. You're going to have like a kind of a small to medium-sized green day. Okay, and then that'll be Tuesday. Wednesday, we could see another down day. That'd be very typical for that to happen. You get the bounce back day, and then you get another down red day. And Wednesday, we'll wait to see what happens, but it'd probably be like a medium-sized red day kind of thing. But we'll just see what happens. I think tomorrow will be a green day. I don't think it's going to be huge, but it's probably what's going to happen. Yeah. All right, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, click that subscribe button. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to click that little bell icon so you get notified of the videos I put them out. Talk to y'all real soon again next time.